Hello?
Every 4 years, the United States undergoes a transition, either from one president to the next or from a president's first term to the second. But some transitions in Washington, D.C. are incomplete. These are the transitions between life and death. For over 200 years, the White House has been so linked to history that it is part of history itself. But it has also had so many connections to the afterlife that today it is full of spooky stories of its paranormal history too. We'll explore several of these ghostly tales in White House Ghosts. This video is based on a chapter of the book Ghosts of the Mid-Atlantic, Volume 2, which is available for purchase at our website www.bookswv.com. The White House, which is also called the President's House and the Executive Mansion, is one of the most beautiful and most recognized buildings in the United States, if not the world. But it is also among the most historic and haunted buildings too. Within the walls of the presidential mansion, many reports over the centuries tell stories of stately spirits who linger between the worlds of life and the afterlife. Famous spirits such as Presidents Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Jackson, First Ladies Abigail Adams and Dolly Madison, and many more have made their presence known. In 1791, George Washington took on the project of constructing a residence for the nation's chief executive. But it wasn't until November of 1800 that the unfinished building had its first inhabitants, John and Abigail Adams. Abigail Adams was the first lady to live in the president's house. She complained about the wilderness of the fledgling nation's capital when she first arrived, but she promptly turned the incomplete house into a functional home. She entertained dignitaries and guests with state dinners, received visitors, and managed the household. She established the traditional hostess role of the First Lady for centuries to come. Abigail Adams' commitment to the home makes it fitting that she would leave her mark on the White House long after her death in 1818. Many people, including President William Howard Taft, have seen a residual haunting of her ghost floating through the doors on the second floor. During her life, Abigail Adams hung the family's laundry in the East Room to dry. In her death, her apparition is said to carry a laundry basket, and some witnesses say that the faint smell of soap lingers wherever her spirit has passed by. Rising on the social and political scene in the early 1800s were the Madisons, the somber James, and the vivacious Dolly. When James Madison became president in 1809, the Madisons took up residence in the president's house. There, they hosted the first inaugural ball in U.S. history. Dolly Madison planted the first rose garden at the White House. Some people say that her spirit lingers to guard her cherished roses. Many people have reported the inexplicable faint smell of roses inside the White House, which some believe indicate the presence of Dolly Madison's spirit. A century after Dolly Madison planted her rose garden, First Lady Ellen Wilson was planning to dig it up. But White House workers reported that Dolly Madison's ghost appeared and prevented them from destroying it. Perhaps it is no wonder that Dolly Madison's spirit was angered, if not insulted, by Ellen Wilson's plan to dig up the rose garden and break with long-standing tradition. There were stark personality differences between the spirited Dolly and the simple Ellen. For instance, Ellen decided against having an inaugural ball, whereas Dolly had initiated the tradition. On August 24, 1814, Dolly Madison fled Washington, D.C. when British troops invaded the city. During her escape, she famously saved a painting of George Washington that was hanging in the president's house. That evening, the British set fire to the house, burning it down to its shell. One ghostly legend says that a British soldier who died during the 1814 assault on the president's house has been returning in the afterlife to finish his assignment of burning the building to the ground. His apparition has been seen holding a blazing torch as he stands outside the front door of the White House. A couple staying in a second-floor bedroom claimed that this determined spirit even tried to set fire to their bed. Dolly Madison is not the only spirited spirit in the president's house. One of America's most blustery presidents was Andrew Jackson. His nickname, Old Hickory, referred to his tough and aggressive personality, a personality that has lingered into the afterlife at the White House. Throughout his political life, Jackson's fiery personality led him to be either loved or loathed. A testament to this occurred in the early 1800s. Attorney Charles Dickinson insulted Jackson's wife Rachel, and tensions between the two men built over the following months. To defend Rachel's honor and end the feud once and for all, Jackson in 1806 challenged Dickinson to a duel. Dickinson shot Jackson in the chest. Jackson was seriously wounded but managed to reload. He fired a second shot that mortally wounded Dickinson. In 1828, Jackson blamed his political opponent, John Quincy Adams, for a stressful election that hastened his wife's death. Rachel died of a heart attack after Jackson's presidential election. Because she died before his inauguration, she never officially performed duties as a First Lady. In this portrait of Andrew Jackson is a tempestuous sky that matches his personality. But notice the disapproving look of the man behind him and the prominent rump of a horse beside him. Perhaps the artist of this painting is sending a message that Andrew Jackson is a horse's... Jackson's vigor during life leads many to believe that his spirit remains at the White House. He frequently appears in the Rose bedroom, which had been his bedroom while he lived at the White House. Some people report that there is an inexplicable cold spot on the canopy bed in that room. Witnesses, including First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln, have reported that Jackson's ghost stomps, swears, and laughs. Only a half-century into its history, the White House was planting seeds of paranormal activity. Yet nothing compared to the spike that began in the 1860s with the Lincolns and lasted through the Truman-era renovations. Mary and Abraham Lincoln held seances at the White House. One theory for the increase in paranormal activity over the next 90 years is that the Lincolns' mediums did not properly close their seances, leaving a portal open to the spirit world directly through the White House. What do you think? What's the reason behind all the ghostly encounters at the White House? How do you explain the unexplained? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Reports of paranormal activity at the White House decreased markedly after the Truman-era renovations, but they have not altogether ceased. The stories you've just heard are a sampling of many stories you'll read more about in our 2-volume series. Which of these famous people saw or heard ghosts, held seances, or foretold the future at the White House? Add your guesses to the comments. These are just some of the many people who are waiting for you to discover them on the pages of Ghosts of the Mid-Atlantic. Before we go, here's a bonus story for you. During World War II, Britain's Prime Minister Winston Churchill had a paranormal experience with Abraham Lincoln's ghost. While staying overnight at the White House, Churchill was getting ready for bed late at night. He took a long bath, drank scotch, and smoked a cigar to relax. He got out of the bath with only his cigar and walked into the adjoining bedroom. He was startled to see Abraham Lincoln standing by the fireplace.
Hello.
Churchill blinked and said, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have me at a disadvantage." Lincoln smiled softly and disappeared. Despite Churchill's casual response, the episode disturbed him enough that he refused to stay in the Lincoln bedroom ever again. The White House has brightly painted sandstone and brick walls, 6 expansive levels, and a long and significant history. It is not just the president's house, but the people's house. Each year, it hosts over 30,000 visitors. During its history, it has seen both war and peace. It has been burned down, rebuilt, and restored. It has witnessed birth, life, and death. It is a site of curses, prophecy, and mystery. It is no great wonder why distinguished guests and ghosts continue to visit the White House. It is not only a place of transition, but a place of timelessness. We hope you feel inspired to continue learning more about this haunted place. White House Ghosts is based on a chapter in the book Ghosts of the Mid-Atlantic, Volume 2, which is available at www.bookswv.com. Get your copy today to read more about the Masonic mysteries of Washington, D.C., the mysterious assassination of President Lincoln, and many other stories that blend history, biography, and the paranormal. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a kind comment or question. Visit our website, www.bookswv.com. Connect with us online and in person, and sign up for our free monthly newsletter. Thank you for watching.